Tired of plain plastic Gunpla weapons? Transforming them is easier than you think. Today I'll show you how to prep and brush paint this beam rifle into a pro level piece, no airbrush needed. Let's go! I don't know about you, but man, I hate how plain Gunpla weapons can look, especially when they come with a beautiful detail kit like the RG Wing Gundam. When I plan a color scheme, I follow a simple rule. If I'm only painting the inner frame, I'll keep things more neutral, focusing on different metal tones with subtle colors for details. But if the kit's fully painted, I'll bring some of that color scheme over the weapon too. Today we're going with that second option to make this a more complete tutorial. First, I'm taking a close look at the weapon to spot any problems to fix, modification to make, and see if I can separate some part for individual painting. In this case, there's a big gap on the bottom we need to eliminate, and a couple of details that can be removed. Let's tackle the gap first. I'll use plastic cement to fuse it together. With a part separator, I'll gently widen the gap, apply the cement, and squeeze the part firmly for around 30 seconds. You should see some melted plastic oozing out. That means the cement is working. The cement will take up to 24 hours to completely set, but we won't apply any stress on this part, so I can wait around 15 minutes and then sand away any residue left behind. Much better now. You can use this exact same technique to remove seam lines, which, luckily for us, aren't really an issue on this rifle. But check out this bazooka. See how I eliminated all of them? If you want the full breakdown on seam removal, check out the full build video after this tutorial. Now it's scribing time. There's a good amount of detail here that will really pop with panel lining. I'll be using a 0.125mm chisel for most lines and a scribing needle for the tiny details. The needle helps keep corners sharp without damaging them. The rifle is already so detailed that there's no reason to create new lines. I can just pass my chisel on all these edges for a great look. Let's not forget about the rest of our weapon. We can scribe all the cylinders and the little vent. Do you know what else needs some love? Those like and subscribe buttons. A gentle click will push my gratitude over 9000. Okay, time for paint. For the barrel, I'm using gunmetal. I know it sounds boring, but it works every time. I'll throw in some meteorite black to layer a bit the colors. Then, blue and yellow to match the model's color scheme, dark grey, a staple for my weapons, and finally metallic red, green and blue. I love adding them to simulate little light meters and indicators, they will look great. Let's lightly sand the whole gun now, so the primer sticks nicely. I'm using a 1000 grit sanding sponge with a very light touch. I don't want to erase or damage any detail. A quick clean up and we're ready. I also want to keep this green plastic how is it. I really like the look of it, so let's just apply some masking tape and we can start. I will apply two primers, black under the areas getting metallic paint, and white everywhere else. This step is important. Metallics need that black base to look smooth, while the white keeps the other colors nice and bright. This isn't a dark model after all. I cover the techniques I'm using in my other tutorials, but I'll give you a quick rundown anyway. If you want a more in-depth explanation, I'll put the links in the description. Use a wet palette to thin your colors and to avoid them to dry. The primer is needed for the paint to stick properly, so you don't want to apply it too smoothly. A rough surface will work better. After 5 to 10 minutes max, the primer will be dry and we can proceed with the painting. Another rule I always follow is to start with the metal, followed by the other colors, from the darkest to the brightest. That's because if you need to fix any mistake, covering a yellow, for example, with black is going to be way easier than covering black with yellow. Here I'm applying the meteorite black, just some touch here and there. I'll then proceed with the gunmetal, mainly on the barrel and the grip. Like many metal colors, the first coating will look terrible. I usually need around 3 coats to get a smooth result. I will also use the gunmetal on the inner part of the vent and the cylinders. Time for one more bit of wisdom. Be flexible. See how dark the grey is here? Almost black. I realized that I didn't like how it looked, so I kept it to a bare minimum and switched to a regular grey for the rest. So much better. Blue is the main color for the rifle. I like blue. A couple of coatings should be enough to get it nice and smooth. Now the hard part, yellow. It's the hardest color to apply. I will need to use a lot of light layers to have a nice effect. The shortcut would be using an orange yellow, but I think it just doesn't look as good, especially paired with blue. Well, let's get this done with. And after a good amount of elbow grease, here we are. Lastly, I will use my metallic colors for the details, using a thin brush. A good technique for these round dots is to have a bit of extra paint on the tip and gently tap on the surface, leaving a small blob. For the little stripe, I will instead just use a couple of passes. If you're worried about being precise, don't worry too much. You can easily pass a bit of blue on any mistakes and fix it easily. Lastly, metal blue on the cylinders to keep them nice and shiny. They will be a great highlight in the center of the rifle. Now that we finished painting, we cover everything with some gloss acrylic varnish. I had some questions about it in my previous video, so I will answer some of the most common I got. I am using a gloss instead of matte because it will create a smooth surface for the panel liner to flow. The cleaning process will also be way easier for the same reason. These acrylic varnishes are waterproof, so cleaning with a damp Q-tip won't be a problem, but using any chemical product like thinners or Tamiya panel liner will ruin everything. That's why I will be using an acrylic wash for my lines. This is the time when all the hard work scribing will pay off. I'll just use a fine tip brush and pass it on all the lines. There's no need for great precision, just make sure to fill all the scribed parts with ink.
I don't think I can take this anymore. I might just break. All the heartache, 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 all the heartache.
As you can see, the moist Q-tip will remove everything very easily, leaving the lines nice and sharp. Now we have something close to the final result. What we are missing is a good top coat. And, as always, I will rely on the Mr. Hobby flat top coat. It never disappoints. And here we go. We can finally put it together. Let's remove the masking tape. Hopefully the paint didn't slip underneath. Not too bad. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you like it and if you have any questions. Thanks for watching and see you soon.